championship rounds as well. So, and he gets race tuition as well. So mega prize for the top driver in the sim class.
Yeah, I mean, I think it really is an awesome selection of prizes. I mean, I think one of the hard things for sim racing, or even not even just sim racing, just getting into real world motorsport for anyone. You don't have to be a sim racer, but for anyone getting into real world motorsport, it's really difficult to get that initial foot in the door. Be that from funding, but also connections and just getting set up. So having these sim events, this is one of the fantastic things that's happened recently with a lot of these esports competitions and sim racing events, is that it now gets more people into real motorsport. Obviously gets people that do real world motorsport into the sim racing, but it's nice to, I think it's just really nice to have those opportunities there for people that maybe couldn't have the budget or wouldn't know how to get into it. There's a accessible entry there without having to go crazy with the funding. So I mean, that's one of the things I really love about sim racing. As I said earlier, you don't need to invest a lot to get into it, and the potential you can get out of it is absolutely massive.
And you won't lose as much money if you decide to sell the kit as you will with the race car.
Yeah, and you certainly won't. I mean, it's stuff like the cost. I think a lot of people aren't aware with motorsport. It's just like the basic track insurance for the car. It's like real world race drivers have to really be concerned with accidentally writing the car off. You know, whereas with the sims, all the actual expensive racing stuff doesn't really matter. Yeah, your equipment, you could break your equipment if you're really rough with it, but most of the sim racing equipment is totally bomb proof. And once if you don't like it, put it on eBay. And I mean, I had a wheel for 5 years, I think, a Logitech G25, and I put it on eBay, and I only lost £30 on the initial price after having it for 5 years. So
wow,
yeah, it's like it is so accessible, and I think it's nice to allow people to get into that. Makes it, for the esports, makes it even more competitive as well. So maybe that's the bad side of it. It's too much competition.
There is an awful lot, isn't there, out there? Absolutely huge amount of competition. But not very much competition for Mr. Marshall at the moment, because he's still P1 with Jordan Brennan second. Jordan Brennan's really coming on this meeting, and he is in second place from Jack Mack in third. Look at Callum Newsham making a move around the outside. Newsham fifth at the moment. Matt Richards ahead of him. Rob Butler in sixth, so Rob a little bit down on what he was in race number one. Then Isaac Smith, Alex Toth-Jones in eighth. So we're seeing some consistency from those top drivers. Now, I worked out while we were having our little break a few points, only really in relation to the top three in the championship. And even though Dave Marshall finished ninth in that last race, he actually outscored Jack MacIntrye by 2 points because he got the fastest lap. So he extended his championship lead even more. And I reckon he knew he was doing that as well.
Yeah, I mean, you get these people that are just... to be honest, I think people that are too talented, they need to be pushed back a peg. I mean, I don't know what you can do to hold them back, but it's unfair that you've got people that are talented at these things, I have to say.
Last week we had Josh Stanton commentating with us, and he's a real well-mini driver, and we were chatting to him, and we were talking about Damien Hall, currently 17th on the grid in this one, and he said, Josh said to me, have you not been to Barbados? I said, no, I haven't. When did you go? And he went on a cricket tour. So I said, so you're one of these people that's really good at all sports, which is actually a little bit annoying, because you get people like, who's the guy, not Max Bird, but there's another bird that races in Formula E, who played county cricket, was a semi-professional footballer for a league club as well, and very good at his racing, hence doing that. So you get people that actually make you sick because they're very good at everything. And Josh Stanton, what a talented lad. But he was so modest last week, and he just got off the subject completely. Changed the subject very quickly, bless him.
Maybe that's a tactic, though, to make them look even more modest. Maybe they're playing like 4D chess with you there.
Yeah, it could be. He was
just
good.
Draw attention that there was a little break there. Unfortunately, the streamer might have got struck by lightning there, but everything is back up and running now. So apologies for those of you that were watching and have had to give it a refresh, but it looks like everything's shooting along as usual now. I think the UK weather, we've had this hot spell, and then it's been broken up with some pretty spectacular thunderstorms over the last 2 days. So
we did get some nice shots of last weekend's venue at Snetterton. So, and we're obviously filling you all in about the various prizes that are on offer. By the way, the sim prizes, the Mini Challenge Cooper Class Race Weekend is the main prize. Second position prize is HTC Vive VR headset. Second prize for the sim racers. The third prize is a test with coaching with a Mini Challenge driver. And then fourth prize is a drive at Silverstone with the Silverstone race car experience. And then the real world drivers get the VRC Sim Race Pro Simulator, which you've seen, which James told us all about. Second prize is 12 simulator sessions with the Virtual Reality Racing Club. Third prize is 2 Goodyear tyres. I'll tell you what, that's a good prize as well to have if you're rebooting your car at any point. And then fourth place is £200 OBT Motorsport voucher. So some incredible prizes to be garnered. As I try and relaunch my timing screen, Marshall's still there at the moment. Callum Newsham looking good. Callum Newsham grabbed his first podium in the reverse grid race 2, and he's now looking for P2 here in qualies with his teammate Jordan Brennan right behind him.
Joe, I think they're actually closer than the earlier session. I think they've Newsham's picked up some. He's got the practice from the races there, and now he's getting into the flow. And CROFT is definitely one of those circuits where, I mean, I think it happens with all tracks, but circuits where you've got those follow-on corner, you have to get into that sort of flow zone with it, and then as the races progress, or have you got multiple races here, you see some drivers really dial themselves into it and start to get the better performance. And I think that is what we're seeing from Newsham.
Yeah, he's looking really good. I would really love to see Callum Newsham carry this form into the Real World Championship this year. Really, he's stuck at it. He's working hard. He's a great talent. Nice kid to chat to as well in the paddock, and hasn't got that much car racing experience under his belt so far. As Jack Mack goes fastest now, Jack MacIntyre. He's walloped Marshall.
Time 0.013. It's pretty close.
Jack Mack is back. Marshall second. Newsham down to third. So we've got an all Newsham nutter second row at the moment. Matt Richards fifth from Isaac Smith. ATJ Alex Toth-Jones in seventh. Rob Butler in 8th, top 10 completed by Tobin Lee and Josh Martin. Martin up ahead of Coates here. Coates has outscored Martin, I think, in the 2 races so far in the battle at the top of the Real World Drivers' Championship, and just a minute remaining on the clock in this second qualifying session.
Do you think Marshall will get in there on this final lap, or will he just be, because if he doesn't get it, T1 is going to be extra spicy. It's not going to be a mild curry. It's going to be. So I actually hope that he doesn't. If MacIntyre can stay up there, that's probably going to be better for T1 Spice. But he's got a lap. He'll have one lap because if you've gone over the finish line before the time goes out, you're good. So he's got one lap to correct it there.
Thing is that Marshall's already won one from second on the grid, hasn't he? Just put that pressure. Was it lap 2? Made the pass down the inside on Rob Butler on that first race, and he knows he can do it again. But Jack MacIntyre, we've seen over the course of the championship so far, has been soaking up such a lot of pressure from Dave Marshall over the rounds. Marshall actually won't really care that much if he finishes P2, as long as he gets the points. But if he can go for the win, he will get it. There is Tom Williams. Tom, one of our featured drivers in this one, comes into pit lane, and Tom in 14th place. Hopefully we'll have a quick chat with Tom after the qualifying is complete. Our other featured driver is Keir McConomy, and just having a look to see where Keir is at the moment, 23rd, so off the timing screen as we look at it, but actually with Craig Timmins, and Ethan Hammerton just ahead of him as well, the Clio Cup Racing driver winner from Thruxton last year. So it's MacIntyre and Marshall on the front row, and then Newsham and Brennan on row 2, the 2 teammates. That's going to be a battle, isn't it, between those two?
I wonder how he finds the difference between the Mini and the Clio Cup, because I believe the Mini's quite a bit more stable than the Clio Cup in terms of the rear coming out. It's interesting to see how drivers adapt to different cars, in the similar sort of pace. Especially if they're used to the car in real life and then go into a simulated equipment. I wonder if it's easier to go to the simulated identical car to what you're used to driving in real life, or if it's easier to go to a simulated different car. Be a good question to ask some of these real world drivers.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think in terms of comparison with the real world Clios and Minis, I've had varied answers from drivers over the last couple of years. A lot of them saying that the Mini is harder maybe than the Clio to drive, and certainly looks like and tends to behave a little bit more like the British Touring Car Championship machines, which is what most of the drivers are aspiring to get into. So we've got our top driver from the qualifying, and it is well done, Jack Mack. We said we were going to talk to you later on. We didn't think necessarily it was going to be as quick as this, but you just Jack MacIntrye just nipping in the closing stages of the session, really bucking the trend in terms of what we've seen, Jack, and taking it away from Dave Marshall, late knocking. So well done on the lap and pole position.
Yeah, I got to be honest, I don't really know where that came from. I've had reasonably good splits all week, but just haven't been able to put a single lap together. But well, yeah, when it matters, I guess managed to do it.
And in terms of the race, you know, pole position here, how much of a psychological advantage is it for you? Sort of teeing, you got the inside run down to turn one. It's going to be about how quickly you get off the line, but it can be hard work, can't it, for the outside driver to get around that outside?
Yeah, very, but it's Dave, so if anyone can do it, I'm sure he can. Just got to try and get a clean start. Hopefully Dave will get caught up fighting, but I think it's going to be. I don't want to give myself bad luck, but it's probably only going to go one way. But I'll do my best to try and stay in front. See how we go.
Well, good luck with that. We'll hopefully catch you on the podium for race 3.
Thank you.
We can also talk to our featured driver as well, Tom Williams. Tom, are you there?
Yes, I am. Hello.
Hi, Tom. How are you? Good to see you. Our focus driver for this race, driver of the number 19 car. And so how was qualifying for you?
A bit frustrating compared to the first one. I managed to get my best qualifying in the first session. But 14th seems to be my kind of go-to position today. So consistent.
Yeah. And you've done...
Yeah.
Sorry to cut across you. I was just going to say, obviously, we've got you down as a sim racer, but like many of the others, you're doing your utmost to try and get on the grid for real at some point. And you've done a couple of the scholarships with Team Hard and want to race. So what are your experience with those like?
No, they were good fun. It was quite an experience. I've never done any track driving before apart from them. So they were quite good fun, and obviously left me wanting more. But this is probably the closest I'll be able to get.
Do you think you have a look at other sorts of club racing? I mean, obviously there is effectively a ladder in British motorsport. You could go and do club racing, as like Isaac Smith raced in the BRSCC Fiestas, which within its own championship has got a ladder of the older cars that you can race, and probably something affordable out there for you, I would guess.
Yeah, no, there are quite a few around. Obviously, Minis and Genettas and Fords, they have a ladder. But again, it is all about money. So at the end of the day, unless I can get some sort of funds together, then it might be a step too far. But that's the aim anyway.
What's work like for you at the moment? You graduated from Kiel University, which is a place that we pass on our travels quite a lot. So how's the work situation at the moment with the current situation?
Yeah, I work for a local water company, so at the moment it is quite busy with the hot weather. So it's keeping me busy, which is good.
Well, that's good. Glad to hear that. Oh, thanks for having a chat with us. We look forward to following you during the race, and hopefully at some point we'll catch you later on in the year, and maybe even on the podium. Who knows?
Yep, that's the plan. Cheers.
Go for it, Tom. Thanks very much for chatting to us. Tom Williams there, who is just about to head into race 3 of 4. I don't think we've got any other drivers with us at the moment, though, so we're pretty much ready to go for our third race of the day. Jack MacIntrye is on pole position for this one. Jack achieving his 4th pole position of the year. And remember, we had Rob Butler. So this is only the second event that Dave Marshall hasn't had a pole position at, but still maintains the championship lead. And as I said in qualifying, actually outscored Jack MacIntrye in the previous race. Jack finished in P6, which garners 30 points. Dave Marshall finished in 9th, but picked up another 6 points for fastest lap. So he actually went away with 32 points from race 2. So extended the championship lead by another 2 points. So he has now got 166 point lead in the championship. So he's got effectively 3 races in hand if we ignore pole positions for fastest laps, which is again what he's going to be looking to maintain. I said that he would be happy with 2nd position in this race, but actually probably Dave Marshall won't be on reflection because he does like a win. And as we saw in race 2, he was quite actually happy to get stuck in and even made an imprint on Max Coates' bumper, didn't he?
Well, definitely a little bit of argy-bargy there, but you know, you've got to do it. You've got to have those battles with these guys. You've got to force it through. But we're just about to go over to the start of race 3 here. We saw the cars lined up, the Union Jack on 2 of the vehicles there. Not, as you say, makes it a little bit confusing, but I think they're about to get going.
Yeah, we're getting ready for the light countdown here. We've had some long waits actually on from lights on to lights out. This makes a great site that we've got for you here at CROFT Circuit, and completely up-to-date graphics, as we can say. The circuit looking absolutely superb. 3 lights on, 4, 6 lights on. Long wait again. Decent enough start from Jack MacIntrye, and we look to the outside line in blue. It's Dave Marshall who will take the battle to him as they go down to Clervaux for the first time. 20 minutes plus 1 lap here. Marshall exploring the outside line. He's having a go. This is where he said after race 1 he was worried about track limits. Slots back into P2, but now MacIntrye runs wide and Marshall's up the inside.
Absolutely pushing it through there as all the cars get through the chicane. A bit of side-by-side contact, but no massive incidents there. But Bird and Fairco going through it. We see. Oh, he's going down the left-hand side. No, he can't get it to stick. There's another car on the inside. It's O'Fair trying to get up through that.
Yeah, Jordan Brennan looking on the inside line to try and nab that second position away. But on the outside is Callum Newsham, so the 2 Newsham nutters still side by side. I've not got the social media feed up at the moment to see who's supporting who, but don't forget, if you're on the Facebook feed or whatever feed you're on, feed your comments through and let us know who it is you're supporting. MacIntrye realises that he is frustrated with what happened going into turn 2, leaving that door open. He's all over the back of Dave Marshall. He knows he's got the pace, he out-qualified him. So now, try to have a look. Jordan Brennan in 3rd, closing up in the Liquid Molly car. A gap back now into 4th position, and then we've got actually Josh Martin running well as well at the moment in 6th place. This is very good. Alex Toth-Jones in behind him, and they'll come across the line now with Dave Marshall in the lead, and now up into 2nd position goes Jordan Brennan with a superb move. Read the run into the complex exceedingly well, got the run, goes through into P2, and Jack MacIntrye, the pole position man, still on the podium, but down in 3rd place and coming under pressure from Matt Richards. Richards qualified 5th and he's up into 4th. Callum Newsham 5th. Josh Martin is in 6th place, which is where he started in the Green Machine, another real-world driver, and quite a few places ahead of Max Coates at the moment, 3 places ahead of Max Coates, so that'll be good for the drivers, the real-world drivers championship. But this is very close out front. Marshall at the moment not getting away.
Well, they're all getting in there. Sorry for the name calls there at the start. The timing board's a bit delayed at the start of the race there. Give me a bit confused on the names. But now, oh, look at this. He's on the road. 4 coming out. There's a tyre wall. Oh, he's off. He's gone. Oh, no. Oh, it's a disaster. We've just had 2 cars go off to the field to do a bit of spot farming. Another car almost in the tyre wall. What's gone on there? It's Smith, Toth-Jones, Martin. I do not know who's come out of that in one piece. I mean, you can see on the second view now. There he goes, back across the track.
Yes, Max Bird.
They're certainly going for it here. There's absolute carnage there. I mean, generally speaking, 4 cars don't fit through.
Oh, Jack MacIntrye just gave a little tap on the back end of the 2nd place car of Jordan Brennan. The car that went off that James was referring to was Max Bird, and if you listen through the interview that we had during the lunch break with Max, you'll know, and I was surprised to find out that Max is actually a newcomer to sim racing. He literally, I think, got the kit so he could come in and do this championship. So acquitting himself pretty well on the whole in this championship, given his relative lack of experience in sim racing compared to many of the other drivers here. But what a first couple of laps we had. The best flying lap, unsurprisingly, race leader, championship leader, Dave the Machine Marshall, who's getting away. Jordan Brennan P2, Jack MacIntrye in 3rd. MacIntrye coming under pressure at the moment from Matt Richards. Then we've got Josh Martin in 5th place, a little bit distant at the moment, but will maybe want to work hard with Alex Toth-Jones in the predominantly white car with the red trim, running in 6th place. So if we can get 6 cars battling for me, that'll be good. but the quartet headed by Dave Marshall, who's doing what he did in race number 1, making an early pass. Race 1 it was on Ron Butler, race 2 it was on Jack Mack, who finds himself down in 3rd with Matt Richards all over the back of him.
Yeah, we just noticed that some of the drivers are running wide on some of these corners, and they've got to be careful. If you pick up the penalties, not only do you have the penalty system built into the game, but obviously if you keep cutting the track, the marshal's going to call you out on it, and you might end up with a drive-through. So you do have to watch out for that. And I think you're kind of finding the footing at the start of the race, pushing the limits, and then dialing it down a bit. But everyone's trying to get into the points here and push forwards. As we've got action now on the final corner. So he just squeezes through on the inside. No, they're going to go side by side down the start finish line here. Do a nice telephoto shot down the runway. Is he the purple car? Is he going to get through? Is that Elliot?
Elliot's on the outside line. Yeah, it's Luke Kidsley on the inside.
And he's turning on him, but he's held on to it though. Elliot having to hold back there. Does the safe thing. Doesn't brick wall the car off and loses the position, but. It's better to lose a position than keep the wheels. I always find you want to stay in the race.
Yeah, that's a sound decision, isn't it? To make the white-red car behind that battle that James was describing is Callum Newsham, who lost out in that skirmish a little early on. So we've lost Newsham from the front group. Just to take stock of where we are. Tom Williams in the 19 car dicing with Damien Hall. Tom in the yellow and white car. Damien in the yellow and light blue 246 car. There they are having a good race at the moment, and Paul is currently where on the timing screen? Having a look. Let's go back to the main screen. But those two having a good race, with Marshall still out front, 6/10 at the moment over Jordan Brennan in P2. So
look at that. We've got Richards there, just holding out. He's in 4th place. He's sniffing. He's looking to the right. He's looking to the left. Will he go for the dive up the inside? No. He's just nice and easy. It's like he's doing his Sunday shop. He's just off to Tesco's. Take it easy. But I think he's winding up for the pounce down the straight. Will he go for a bit of a dive? He's close. I don't think he's close enough though.
Not now, no.
A metre or so. No. That would be a little bit ambitious to try and send it from that far back, but. He's getting in there, and that's the thing. You've got to get just the right distance so that when it comes to the end of the start-finish line or the start-finish straight, you can then get that pass in. But you can't do it. You can't do it unless you're close enough. We've got Bird there in 19th place. He's also having a little look around. He's just to the left, just to the right. Oh, he's pushed for it. He's gone for it. He's gone for the pass. He goes on the inside. Absolutely fantastic. He's made it stick, and we've got another. Whoa! I thought they were going to contact there. That was a bit of that was like a Red Arrows flight display as they all go through that, but it all worked out. I'm not sure how that worked out. Bit of a crisscross. I don't know what you call that, but it worked out for Bird. He's in 18th place. Nice bit of action from the back there. So we're now joining Smith, who's in 8th place. Just chooching along. 12 minutes 56 seconds left in this race. As we saw in the previous races, it gets hotter and hotter as the race progresses. But they've started out already pretty hot in this one. It's not like they're dialing it up. They've gone full turbo from the get-go. I'm not sure. I don't know if Smith is going to take. He's pressuring Coates here. Coates again looks pretty chill. Smith, no, he's just staying behind it, biding his time. But there's that gap between Coates and Toth-Jones. And there's a nice little gap there. And as you say, Marshall though, we need to do something about Marshall here. He's completely, again, totally machine mode. Totally Schwarzenegger in the cockpit there. Theme tune playing. He doesn't care about the rest of the race. He's half a second ahead. He's in his own race. He's driving other circuits. He's already on the next race. He doesn't even care about this one anymore. It's just ridiculous. You get this in real motorsport, but you get it especially in sim racing. You get some people that they're generally just good at all-round sim racing in general, but you get them on certain tracks as well, and it's like, well, they've gone. That's it. There's no holding them back. I don't know what I can say to Brendan here to get him up to close that gap, but maybe get out and push him a bit harder or something. But
Jordan Brennan is gaining in experience round by round, and not as much sim racing experience as Dave Marshall, but we're seeing him get better and better, and he'll know, even though the gap's gone out to 0.7 of a second, he'll know that he's got podium pace. He'll also know that he's got the man second in the championship, Jack MacIntyre, right behind him as well. But yeah, you say Dave Marshall, another driver that has been knocking on the door of racing in the real well, having done the Want to Race Ginetta Scholarship, which he was a finalist at in 2018. And then the Team Hard from your part of the world, actually, down in Kent, and he was a finalist at that in 2019. They've got a team of about 300 racing drivers across various formulae. So I think basically, if you're racing your bike, your push bike on the street, you can put Team Hard stickers on it, and they probably press it. I'm only joking before I get stick from them. They're great guys.
But it is interesting how Brennan, MacIntrye, and Richard are all pretty close together. I mean, you've got Martin there in 5th with a little bit of gap on them, but that 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place have really got a bit of a battle in there. So it'll be interesting to see how they get along with each other. It's actually calmed down a little bit now. You know, they're that. Normally, as I say, it picks up towards the end. You've got that first corner, but they were really, for those first 2 or 3 laps, have absolutely hammered it. And now there's a little bit of calm. I don't know if something's going to happen. It might be the calm before the storm.
They're having a breather, aren't they?
A little breather, you know. But it's the 3rd race, you know.
It wouldn't be CROFT if I didn't mention something that I hear every time I come to CROFT, and that is that the British Touring Car Championship pit lane commentator Alan Hyde was in the 2nd commentary box, because a lot of the big circuits you have 2 commentary box changes. You have one on the start finish line. Just saw the main one here in the background, and they only have 1 commentary box here now. But back in the day, they used to have 2. And Alan Hyde, without fail, every year would tell us about the time that he was in what is effectively a treehouse, which was the 2nd commentary box. Nice move there by Rob Butler on Max Bird. And Rickard Rydell went off the circuit and clattered into the tree where the treehouse was. So we've now done that story, and we've maintained we've had 100% podiums for people, 100% repetition of the story.
Well, you've got to get the classic stories out there. Maybe one day it'll get printed and put in a bookstore.
It might well do. Actually, Alan Hyde would be a good guy to write a book.
You know, if you've got your branding on the car, and that is a large part of motorsport, is getting the branding out there. What better way of getting your branding seen than driving into the commentary?
Well, that's one of the pieces of advice that some managers will give their drivers. You know, if you can't be seen on the podium, then maybe have a spin or do something like that. I'm not sure whether it works for the driver's reputation, but to get the brand seen, which is absolutely key. And you had your plugs in for Twinings, which is good. We love
and they're not even a brand of mine. This is terrible. I'm putting the wrong brand into the people I'm actually with. And we got Smith here. He's going up. He's winding up here. There's smoke from Coates. Max Coates and Smith going at it here.
They were in the last race, weren't they? This is Alias Smith and Coates, isn't it?
A little bit of a rivalry here. You've got to be careful. There'll be one of those 1980s pit lane punch-ups.
No, I don't think Max would do that. he got closer. If you saw the Clios last year, had a very fierce competition last year with Jack Young, who went on to win the championship, and they actually had more than a couple of coming togethers. But Max never ever let his temper get broke to the point where he would let go. And Jack Young was just so laid back most of the time as well, being a driver from Northern Ireland, very very talented driver as indeed Max Coates is. But Max was always the consummate professional.
Well, I feel like with the driving sims, you can't do that 1980s thing. But what they could do is set up maybe like Street Fighter or something. So if you have a disagreement, you could have a little battle. Just get the anger out without any harm done. It could be another part of the whole thing. You get points for it and everything. It'd be like ice hockey.
It'd be a multi-skill championship.
He's going. Hang on. He's
having another go, isn't he? Yep.
He really wants it. He's like, oh, come on. But he can't just get the power. There's only so much you can get out of it, and you do have to have put the vehicle up the side of the car to then really push your way through. It's like the birthing of Max Coates here, but he's trying. I mean, if you keep pushing, the car in front might make a mistake, and I think that's what you've got to hope for. You really have to push an error from the car in front to be able to get enough of an exit to then complete the pass after the corner. We've got. So Marshall he's pulled away even further now. He's almost a second up.
Yeah, he's doing well, isn't he? But Brennan's not letting him get too far down the road. Again, go back to previous races that we've had in the championship so far. He might have been a second and a half, 2 seconds clear of 2nd and 3rd place. But MacIntyre is getting closer to Brennan. He's only 3/10 down. So the battle for 2nd and 3rd position very much on. Josh Martin running well here, and he's in 4th place at the moment. Josh Martin. So. This is looking good for Josh, who hasn't had a podium yet. So Josh Martin,
he's just trying some novel racing lines through there. Why not?
Yeah, that was Very, very close indeed. Max Coates hangs on. Then we've got our race 2 winner, Tobin Lee, right behind Ryan Elliott. Luke Kidsley at the moment on for that provisional pole for race 4 of the day.
Oh, he's got to get. Look,
no, it's the outside line. He could get the cutback here. Go for the cutback. Go on, have a look at the cutback.
Oh, yes, he's got it now. And then the track goes to the left. So then he pulls across again. Max has him covered.
Max has got the momentum there, and I think he probably knows that, but Isaac Smith is all over him.
Oh, he's
got him now. He's surely got him now. Max Coates is on the outside, looking for the momentum, but Isaac Smith is going through on the inside line. He's been tearing it up for several corners, nibbling away, as James said, and Isaac Smith goes through. Tobin Lee's coming up into the mix now as well. The third of these cars, as you heard in the interviews after race 2, is actually sharing a virtual car this weekend with none other than ex-world champion Jenson Button. How cool is that? Tobin Lee busy challenging Max Coates now. And down behind there we've got Ryan Elliott. A little bit of a gap back to Luke Kidsley, who's on provisional pole for race 2. And then Callum Newsham in the white car with the red top, busy looking to try and get onto provisional pole. There he is going through shot. Up ahead of Tom Williams. Tom Williams having a good run at the moment in 12th place. Be his best result for a couple of rounds if he can maintain that. He's one of our featured drivers in this race.
Do you know what? I'm getting the impression here that Coates and Smith have come to some kind of arrangement to guarantee that they get the majority of coverage in this race. They're battling away at each other, forwards and backwards, and it looks a bit suspicious, The
2 Yorkshiremen as well.
That's it. There you go. They've got it all planned out. I'm sure one of them wants to be in front though. And look at that lock up as we've got Lee now coming on the back of. Is that Lee on the back of Coates? I think it is, yes. They're both locking up in there, so they're under pressure. I think the tyres at this point in the race are actually starting to get a little bit sloppy. It's going to feel like they're driving on tins of soup before the end of the race after pushing it through, especially after the lock-ups. You've got to be careful that you don't wear those fronts out, as they're pretty vital for actually getting round the corners. But
they are key.
Yeah, some say that the tyres that turn are the ones that you want working for you.
A lot of people have asked me why it's called an eSeries rather than iRacing. It's because of the amount of people from Yorkshire. So what you do in eSeries?
That was terrible.
That was bad, wasn't it? I had to get that one in.
I appreciate that though, because it makes my puns seem almost okay.
Tobin Lee's getting stuck in now. So Tobin Lee followed by Ryan Elliott. That's 8th and 9th, and then a gap back to Luke Kidsley. Luke Kidsley here could be on for a pole position for race 2. Here comes Luke, followed by Callum Newsham, and then Tom Williams. Maybe Tom. He's getting stuck in, isn't he? He wants that. He'll know that he's in 11th. He'll want 10th place, and we're going to see Ryan Elliott here, handily placed maybe to get on the podium for race 2. Tom Williams is in the mix as well in yellow. The guy we spoke to after quali, one of our featured drivers, having a really good race here. He was a little bit disappointed with qualifying. He said he had his best qualifying in the first section of this meeting, and was disappointed with what he did. Now as Callum Newsham looks to the inside line. Contact! Half a spin! And the Northcott machine is on the grass but recovers. Doesn't get one place, loses one. The next driver up actually having a good run as well is Damien Hall in 13th place. So driver of the race here, we might want to look at Damien Hall in 13th. We might want to look at Tom Williams, who's now up into 11th. So Williams having a particularly good run. His best finish this year so far, 7th place at Donington. But running strong here is Damien Hall, the driver from Barbados. And the policeman as well, believe it or not, James, from Barbados.
You're nicked. But that move there was an example of what happens if you try too aggressively to get the pass in. You've got to get your car on the side, but you can't plough into the car in front. He lost out though. He didn't benefit from it, so he'd probably get away with it. But yeah, it's that really fine margin between get the car on the inside, get the pass in, and oh dear.
But you know what, you want to see the drivers have a go, don't you? I mean, you don't want to sit. I remember commentating on a real world Formula Ford race at Brands Hatch, and there were 2 cars, first and second, and the guy in second place just sat there and did absolutely sod all race. And he's actually now a commentator for BT Sport. And why didn't Callum Newsham, Craig Timmins and Callum Newsham getting drive-through penalties? But going back to the Formula 4, you want to see a bit of commitment. You want to see someone go for it, not just sit back. And a bit of passion. But he did wind up with a drive-through penalty for it. So what do I know?
Yeah, well, it's for the racers, they want it to be as clean as possible, obviously. for the spectators, you want to see fireworks. And we've had a few. There's been a couple. We've only got 1 minute left in this race, plus one lap, obviously, so it's a bit longer than a minute. But 1 minute on the actual clock for the timer. And if you look, Brennan has actually closed the gap on Marshall a lot. So I don't know if Marshall's made some kind of mistake. Maybe some malware has been downloaded through his email on his computer. Something's happening. Look, he's closing it even more now, so I don't know what's happening there. We've been too busy watching this argy-bargy a bit further back in the grid and the close battling there to see what Marshall's been doing and if he's been stewing in his cockpit.
Been a fascinating race, isn't it? Right the way down the order. So, Marshall out front, 25 seconds plus 1 lap, so we reckon about a lap and 3/4 to go. And Jordan Brennan here might fancy his chances, certainly of catching the race leader, if not having a go to try and get the lead. Jack MacIntyre ready for another podium in third place. What a consistent racer and point scorer Jack Mac is, but Jordan Brennan looking real good here. This is where his teammate made the spearing move down the inside line and wound up with the drive-through. He's actually in 17th place now, at the moment down behind Simon Reed. But it's Dave Marshall still out front and looking for another win, another double win.
Do you think maybe Marshall's calmed it down a bit because he feels like he's got the gap, and so he's like, well, okay, I've got this time to play with, so the last lap I will dial it down a bit. But the risk of doing that is that you've ruined the flow that you've got. So it's like you might think you're being safe, but you're going out of what you've got used to, and then you risk making a stupid mistake. So, but it looks like he has got it, and we've got battling though between Toth-Jones there. Some tyre lockups, which seem to be quite popular. People seem to be smashing their brake pedals. Will he get the pass in before the end there? He's having a look on the right, having a look on the left. I think Martin might hold him off there. He's got the run. I think he's got that nicely. But it was a nice little challenge at the end. You've got to get in there. Actually, we've got one more lap here. I'm ahead of myself. So maybe he will come back. Maybe he will go for the final charge on this final lap. Marshall's now pulled the gap out again. So maybe towards the end of the lap he's actually faster. And then Brennan's got the pace through the mid part of the lap.
He's put his cup of tea down, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's going up and down. I don't know what's going on here. It's all over the place. Oh, we got a nice pass there from Bridgeman in 19th place at the end of the field there. But still, and then Hammer still holding back. I like his livery though. He's coming down the runway in his World War II Spitfire apparently.
Yeah, that's a good call, isn't it? Yeah. It's a good tie-in.
I quite like that actually.
Yeah, Bridgeman Williams. He's another BRSCC Fiesta race back in the day. We had a chat with him as a featured driver a couple of rounds ago, but he's running well. Marshall's still on his way though, 0.5 of a second clear, and it looks like Josh Martin's going to equal his best of 4th. He's had quite a few 4th positions, so Alex Toth-Jones has had a good meeting so far today, but he's just lost a little bit of ground there in the MSL car, but running for another strong 5th position. At the moment, the provisional pole is going to be Luke Kidsley with Ryan Elliott on the front row, so Elliott still looking to chase that 100% podium record, which I keep banging on about. It's important to him and his sponsors, and here as well, because he's hoping to get a budget to race for real in the Cooper Pro Championship when the touring car package reaches here. Reaching the checkered flag now is Dave Marshall, the championship leader, who takes another win. Jordan Brennan, another podium for Brennan in P2. Jack Mac, the silent assassin, is 3rd. Actually hasn't killed anybody this round yet, apart from in qualifying. I think.
Is that how he got the nickname?
What it was, Anthony Williams, the JCW Mini Challenge Championship director, picked that nickname because he was just there or thereabouts all the time, either picking up places and eventually getting a win, and he just did it quietly and stealthily. There is Tom Williams, 11th place. I tell you what, James, you've got a difficult job here for driver of the race.
Well, I have got a pick. I don't know if it's a legitimate pick. It's just based off the action.
Yeah.
I've got a driver in mind.
Okay.
I don't know if it's the best driver in terms of points and overall context of everything. But I'm just watching the action. I've got a pick.
Yeah.
But we'll wait.
We'll wait till after the podiums. I'll give you a few other pointers you might want to consider as well as we go through. But there's more than 3 or 4 drivers that are in with a shout there. In terms of the driver of the race.
To be honest, my driver of the day is kind of a bit of a lottery. just put you put the names in the hat and one comes out, but I do get swayed by the spicy moves and the spicy action. That's what I find appealing, but
Well, just running down the top. Obviously, you've got your podium position drivers who we'll talk to in a minute. Josh Martin equalled his best with fourth there, which was pretty good, and he's pulled a few points back on Max Coates in the Real World Drivers' Championship. I would also the other drivers that caught my eye from where they started from and what they've done there. I would say Tom Williams, who we spoke to, featured driver in the race, with 11th place, cracking result from what he said was disappointing qualifying, and the other one was Damien Hall, the Barbados police officer, who came through for a very good 12th. He's only 2 places behind his best finish there, so he was right back to form in that race, was Damien Hall. So loads to choose from, either Martin, Williams, Hall, or indeed whoever you pick. We'll let you think about that while we chat to the guys on the podium. Starting with third place, the third place driver. So well done to getting on the podium once again. Jack MacIntyre, third position, well done. Talk us through your race.
Cheers, yeah. Kind of went how I expected, to be honest. As soon as I saw Dave keeping me on the inside through turn 1, I could see it 30 seconds ahead that he was going to get the cut back and be off down the straight, and yeah, that's what he did. So really well done, really good pass. And then just unfortunately lost second, and then just tried to hang on. I think I was slowly catching a little bit with the tyres about 3/4 of the way through, but just nowhere near enough to be able to challenge for second.
But a good race nonetheless for you, and the VRRC car handling well.
Yeah, really good, really good. Chuffed with another third place, a few more points. I mean, Dave's extended his lead a little bit. I almost got him on fastest lap, but messed the last corner up. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Another race and then another 2 rounds, so still to play for.
Look forward to that. Well done. We'll see you for race 4. And out of all the drivers, Jack MacIntyre's the one we tend to not expect to make the progress, but the one you're not surprised if he does actually climb his way up the order, as it were. Next up, we go to the man who was second in the race and a second career podium, so we're going to have to get him onto the top step at some time, but well done in the Liquid Molly Northcott coffee and vending car, Jordan Brennan.
Cheers, thank you.
And you sound happy, which is fantastic. Well done, mate. Talk us through your race. You were really challenging and closing on the machine at the end of that one.
I made a move on track quite early on into the hairpin, and then I'd seen Dave making a few mistakes, and I was just sticking with him. Managed to hold on to the tyres, and it just went well.
Now you got that first podium last time out. I think I made the point before, but the confidence must be there now.
Yeah, struggling in the other 2 races a bit to overtaking, but just going into this one, I just thought, go for it, and it worked out.
Well, it's good. Well done. Great to see you back in P2, a second podium. So things are building up nicely. We just need to get you that extra step up. We'll catch you for race 4.
Thank you.
Jordan Brennan, and again in reverse order we go to our winner. He was picked for pole position, but another very early pass in the race to take the win. Congratulations, championship leader Dave Marshall.
Cheers, thank you. Yeah, quali didn't go to plan. Just didn't hook the lap up, if I'm honest.
Right.
But it's one of them things, and I knew if I was to try and make a pass, it was going to have to happen early on in the race. Otherwise, Jack would probably be up the road. I think I'm struggling for outright pace at CROFT. I just seem to be cooking my tyres on the front. Yeah, and I definitely wasn't looking after my tyres with Jordan behind. That was as fast as I could go. So fair play to the lad for. I don't think he dropped without a second. So yeah, he's making a bit of a habit of getting on the podium, which is a bit worrying. But there you have it.
There's some really improving drivers on there. I love the way you say that you're struggling with pace and you've taken pole position and 2 wins. That's not too bad, is it?
No, as I said, coming into CROFT, it was damage limitation. I just don't feel I can do consistent quick laps around this track. With a mixture of how bumpy it is and how easy it is to get on overtakes on the slower corners, so you have to go defensive different times. But yeah, happy to get another fastest lap and hopefully make good progress in race 4.
Yeah, I think your championship lead getting on towards 170, 75 points, something like that. Now we'll have to do the maths another time. But Dave Marshall for the Simply Race Sancho Simsport DMR car. Well done on another win. We'll see you for race 4.
Cheers. Thanks, Rich.
Congratulations, Dave. Another super drive from him and Jordan Brett and Jack Max. So many exemplary performances there, and that's what we're going to talk about now. James, who was your driver of the race?
Right, now, I don't know if this is one of the ones you recommended or I'm being a lunatic, but I'm thinking Martin Williams for driving consistently there, getting up. I think he got the 4th place out of that and avoided the carnage. And yeah, I don't think Martin Williams. I mean,
Josh Martin.
Josh Martin, sorry. getting so.
Martin Williams would be a kind of a mixture of Josh Martin and Tom Williams.
That's names are just flying all over the place. But
it is difficult first time in, mate. You're doing a sterling job anyway.
But yeah, no, it was a close call between that and Smith. I think was battling against Max again.
Yeah, because he was getting stuck in, wasn't he?
Yeah, so it's a close call between the two. But yeah, we'll go for Josh Martin, I think.
And just to back you up on the name thing, don't worry about the names, because I think halfway through the last programme I was causing Isaac Smith Ryan Smith, who's actually a truck racer, so don't worry about it.
There's names flying all over the place. Everyone just needs a number, like their own little number, and it'd be nice and simple, or just have an image for everybody, you know.
Yeah, or a colour or something.
Yeah, you're gonna we're gonna need like 28 different colours for all the names there. If you're gonna have the whole
Captain Magenta,
25. Yeah, just a nice shade, just a nice rainbow going through it. No, that's nice and consistent, nice and easy to follow. They do that in some games. You're like, that's you've got it in with games like Counter-Strike. If you're familiar with the esports scene and stuff, you have a different colour for each player, so it makes it nice and easy to spot who's who, even if you forget who their name is. But yeah, we'll get there. Yeah.
No, it's right. I'll tell you what, commentary-wise, we do exactly the same thing. So in the F4 British Championship, which is single-seaters, very difficult to tell the drivers apart. Sometimes you have to go by the wing mirror colour or something like that.
Yeah.
So what you're saying
you
is...
need the drivers to have really gregarious, out there colour schemes on the vehicles probably helps.
We're getting ready for race 4.
Race 3, so they're all lined up on
Kidsley and Elliott on the front row, mate.
Start-finish line here. Yeah, we've got Elliott in P1 there.
Luke Kidsley to his outside. Row 2, Tobin Lee and Max Coates.
Okay, so lights on the screen, and you've got the red lights, and they go when the lights go out, and it's a bit of a wait. Go! They're off. A bit of a slow start for P3 there, a bit delayed. He was snoozing in his cockpit, but P1 is off. Elliott there. Lee coming through. Is there going to be contact through P1? No, it looks like they've all got through there nice and clean, or at least the front group. And the Spitfire's getting stuck, and we've got a car sideways. Oh, he's come back on the circuit. I'm not sure who that is, but it's contact between is that Butler, Newsham? Coming together there, and now we've got a car going off-road. I honestly can't see who it is. I think it's McCollum who's just dropped right back. Bridgeman, Richard falling back there. Nice battle up front. He's just been pushed off the track. Is that Kidsley?
Kidsley is there, yeah. Kidsley was
been pushed sideways from Elliott behind him, but he's holding out. We've got a rotating vehicle. I think it's Williams and Butler coming together, and we've got third and fourth place.
Oh, Max Coates off!
Max Coates has gone full wide.
Track limits, Coatesy, track limits.
Watch out there. But absolutely, that's just, it's too much to keep track of here. We need 4 commentators doing like an auction to keep track of this. Kidsley, Elliott, Lee, Coates, Smith, MacIntrye, Toth-Jones. That's the top 7 there. The most important positions, the top 7, obviously. We're not going to go through the full grid result here because there's too much happening up front. As Kidsley is holding on to this. Elliott right behind him. Lee looking for a pass on that final corner. Will he get it in there? No, he's just... They're calming down a bit. But, he's poked him. Elliott has poked Kidsley. And Kidsley holds on to it, though. But T1. Side by side there. Lee and Coates battling away. Will Coates stick it up the inside? Or will he give it up? I think there's going to be contact. No, he's got through. He's held on to it. Nice driving there by Coates, and nice job Kidsley avoiding the accident. A little bit of contact, but it's not too bad. I mean, first lap was a little bit messy. We did see a few cars flying. Oh, no! I spoke too soon. Who's that that's gone off? Who was that? We've just seen a car go sideways there. I'm not quite sure who it was.
Yeah, I didn't catch that one, but it's Kidsley, isn't it? Still.
Oh, no! It's
Callum Newsham. Coates goes sideways, loses 2 places. So Tobin Lee back up into 3rd place, and the top 2, Kidsley and Ryan Elliott, starting to build a bit of a lead because they're all knocking each other about, knocking 7 bells out of each other for 3rd place at the moment. But it's that man you had your eyes on in race number 3, Isaac Smith, who's up into 3rd place. Do not bet against Isaac Smith in this one. As I said that he's a commentator's tip, he loses a place to Tobin Lee. So he won't thank me for that.
Yeah, it's really nice just seeing all this battling going on. I think because it is the final race, they are absolutely smashing into it here.
Dare I say it's calming down a little bit now. Isaac thinks about having a look up the inside line. Ryan Elliott wants to do his speciality of grabbing a reverse grid win, and he's very well capable of that. But Luke Kidsley is capable of doing the same as well. Kidsley grabbed the win on the international circuit at Silverstone from pole position in race 2 at Silverstone, which was our 4th race weekend. So we've got 2 very experienced drivers up the front. Now, when you hold your positions from the reverse grid 10, it just goes to show how competitive these guys are. And where is our race 1 winner? Dave Marshall, he is down in 7th place. It's Luke Kidsley with the fastest lap of the race at the moment. Dave Marshall's down in 7th. Jack MacIntrye only 1 place ahead of him at the minute. So MacIntyre will want to make a little bit of progress. But watch Isaac Smith in 4th place, the blue car, chasing race 2 winner, Tobin Lee, who I remind you is off racing with Jenson Button later on in the weekend, later on in the day in actual fact.
Earlier when you were interviewing Tobin Lee, though, he was saying an interesting aspect of the fact that in the race that he's doing later is in GT3 cars and a different simulator.
Yeah.
And that's one of the really difficult things for esports racing, is that, as he pointed out, every sim has its own unique physics. Despite them all being pretty realistic, they all, when it gets to this competitive level, you really have to dial into very specific aspects, and obviously the different cars as well. So it's just, you know, the amount that's required from sim racers in terms of adaptation and difference in the space of, he's literally going from this to another total race series in the course of an hour. That in real motorsport, generally people kind of stick to the same car at least for a day and probably for a whole season. So it's just really remarkable how much they have to adapt and how they dial into it. And you see here, Lee is absolutely smashing it in this race, really holding his own. But Coates he's behind him, he's having a look. And we've also got Smith here, who I think is... Smith's got Coates on behind him, sorry. Smith is looking to get Lee, and Coates on the back of Smith. And actually, saying that, Richards is just having a nice little battle there.
Yeah, with Ethan Hammerton. Hammerton, London local man, and just behind them, our featured driver, Keir McConnelly, who's in 16th place. Keir here is on for potentially his best result. So,
nice.
Really pleased for him. And whether we'll get to have a shout with him before the end of the race. Oh, no, contact on the end of Hammerton there by Matt Richards, gives him a nudge. Goes through. Another drive-through maybe there.
Oh dear. Well, I was talking about romantic kissing before, but that I think that was a bit too far. That was that was after a few bottles of wine. I mean, come on, guys, calm it down.
Top 4 have calmed down. There was me saying that Isaac Smith was going to be one to watch here for the win. Kidsley now has developed a lead of 0.6 of a second over Ryan Elliott. Tobin Lee in 3rd. A little bit of a gap to Smith. We had this point in race 1, I remember you saying it, James, that it just calmed itself down. And was it the lull before the storm as we got into the closing stages? We watched Tom Williams dicing there with Damien Hall.
Oh, someone just poked through on the inside now. I'm using the term poke again. But he's got it through on the inside, nice driving. A lot of shuffling there between 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th and 16th place. They're all boxing away, and as he moves up the inside of the orange car there, I think that's S Hall there, just going... He's just lost the place there, the orange car. But he might take it back as he comes round the outside, then the inside. I think he's just holding on to his place. No, he unfortunately has lost that position to Mr. Williams there. But it was a nice try. He tried to hold it back. There's only so much you can do.
Yeah, Ethan Hammerton behind him. Then Keir McConnelly in 16th at the moment. So Keir in the 21 machine. Just having a quick look at Keir's results. Best result so far. 18th place, Silverstone International, so improving on that. So he'll be pleased in the green car at the back of the group to be running well. Max Bird in the mix there as well, currently in 10th place. So Max has worked his way up in this meeting. He's now got himself up into the top 10 in the 44 car, and getting better and better as he gets more sim racing experience. There's Jack MacIntyre, P2 in the championship, 5th place in the race. Lost a little bit of ground over Isaac Smith, so we've got a quartet for the lead, effectively. Gap back, this man in 5th place with Max Coates right behind him, then Dave Marshall in 7th. So MacIntyre has managed to get Max Coates between himself and Dave Marshall, who was having a look at Max Coates there on the inside line, but Coates knew he'd got momentum going into the hairpin. Max Bird is in behind as well. Jordan Brennan in front of him at the moment. Jordan Brennan in 8th, Marshall in 7th.
Just seen a car almost knocked into the pit lane there. I don't think he wanted to take a pit stop in a race that doesn't have any pit stops. So, you know. It's a tactic though to get the car, your opponent, into the pit lane so you can overtake them. But that final corner, you have to be committed. There's going to be a little bit of contact. I think everyone got away with it pretty much. We'll be seeing if there are any penalties doled out. We'll look out for that. But really nice action there on that final corner. And we see here we've gone back to Lee here, who's in 4th place in his nice bright pink car. I appreciate Lee having a livery that's really nice and easy to identify. So I'm giving Lee 10 points here. But look at that, he's put 2 wheels on the grass, and now he's gone around the outside, and now he's gone back up the inside.
He's trying to find that momentum, isn't he?
He's looking for it. He's using all the circuit that's available, and circuit that's painted green, or the grassy part of the circuit, which isn't the circuit. But, if it works, it works. If you can get that momentum, and if you can carry the momentum, rather, and you have to use a bit off-road, as long as you've got 2 wheels on the track, I think it's okay. And he is trying, he keeps trying and can't get stuck in. Will he get it? On the final corner, will he go for a lunge there? This is going to be interesting. I think he's thinking about it. No, he's just staying right on his bumper. I think he's going to wait until there's another opportunity.
Here's Kieran Economy, right of shot. Our featured driver having a good run, still in 16th place. Ethan Hammerton 15th ahead of him as the lead quartet goes around. I saw Kieran looking pretty confident at the moment as he comes out of the hairpin and safe in that 16th position, so potentially on for a best result in the green car, as we said, podium finisher in Cooper S Racing last year.
I think
Similar format.
The hard thing can be is if you're not right at the front and then you're in that little bit of a gap, it can be hard to keep the pace up. In some ways, when you've got a car in front of you, it actually coaxes you into driving faster and getting a better result. So I think it's if you're in that gap zone, that gap behind people, it's hard to keep the pace up to then close it again. But he's doing a good job of pushing up through there. And we've just gone back to Lee again. And this little convoy here, it's like you've got the train, first class in the distance there, second and third class. Look, just a little train going through the Yorkshire countryside here. Don't know if there's going to be a free tea service on this. They've got rid of that. Although the trains apparently have been renationalised in the UK again. So maybe we will get free cups of tea on trains. And well, Lee won't be getting it though, because he's in 4th. But Elliot and Kidsley will be getting the free tea service on this train. They're great. But look at that battle as well. Back in, we've got Williams in 12th, and this car number 19, Williams. There's another train. This is one's the commuter train, and the other one's the train that's an hour behind it. But they're battling away there, and they're getting in. Oh, he's gone round the outside. Williams is trying to get it to stick. And who's that that's gone up the inside of him?
That's Josh Martin, isn't it?
Josh Martin again battling away. He's not shy to have a bit of a fight. He'll get in the mix there.
He's having a good go. Tom Williams there on the inside line as outside of the hairpin, but inside as they head down into Clervo in the yellow car. Is he going to be able to just hold off?
Tyres!
Oh!
Close.
Very close indeed. All this talk about trains, of course, highly relevant because the Stockton to Darlington, the first ever run of the Stevenson's rocket, was only about 5 miles away from here.
Hello. Hello, and welcome to Train Talk.
Well, I thought that was an informed comment from you.
You might come here for the race driving, but you're staying for the train history. That's what all people are. The trains are awesome. I'm fully into trains. You can't, there's nothing. Oh, hang on, I've just seen did I just see a car off into a field there?
We've got Damien Hall, the Barbados lad, just taking a visit into the Barley, I think. Bajan Barley.
Oh, look at that! We've got a move from Hall. I think
he's coming back, isn't he? Yep.
19th there. He's coming through. It's nice. Lots of shuffling around here. We've only got 8 minutes left in this race, so
Luke Kidsley's on for a second win here, isn't he? At the moment, Ryan Elliott, the man under. But when it was a four-car train to the lead.
Martin's just decided to do a drift there. It's not. He took a shortcut there. I'm sure they'll be looking into that. It's unfortunate.
I think that was Matt Richards who just took the moment off. There is Josh Martin in the right-hand screen with Tom Williams putting him under pressure, and we've got 7 minutes to go. It's not a quartet anymore, is it? I tell you what, the 5th place car beginning to close up on the lead quartet. That's Jack MacIntrye. He's got the fastest lap of the race, 1:28.616. Behind him, Max Coates in 6th place, just developed his best lap of the race as well. So watch for Max in the black, white and yellow car to go through shot as he does. Coates ahead of Dave Marshall, Jordan Brennan 8th, Max Bird now up to 9th, ahead of Alex Toth-Jones. Josh Martin is 11th, Tom Williams in 12th place from Matt Richards, Ethan Hammerton. Kieran Economy now up into 15th, so improves again. So this is good stuff from Kieran Economy, and we do have to try and keep our eyes on what's going on a little bit further down the grid. But when it was a quartet for the lead, really the driver that was in the main seat, or the main player, was going to be the man in fourth place, which was Tobin Lee. But Luke Kidsley's developed that gap now at the front, so really it's a three-way train. Elliott the man under pressure, and Lee perhaps the driver who's now in fact up into that third place, as side by side Isaac Smith with Jack MacIntyre, who's teeing up the inside line there. Didn't quite have enough of a run to go down the inside line, but this is putting pressure on Isaac Smith. And out front, the great little defender, which is Ryan Elliott, still there. So Ryan Elliott under big pressure in second place at the moment. Tobin Lee third. Isaac, I nearly called him Ryan Smith. Isaac Smith in fourth place.
That's it.
It's Ryan Elliott being in the mix as well. That's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it.
Do you know, there's going to be lemonade all over the place because there's so much squeezing going on here. Did you like what we did there? You know, squeezing, lemonade.
That's very good.
I tried. So, but they are pushing. It's that final corner where they're really having to hustle their way through to get in front, and then it kind of calms down for the rest of the lap. I say, because I've just said that, there's now Mr. Smith here.
He's on a run. He's getting momentum here to challenge for this third, isn't he? Just watch him. Tobin Lee in front, and Isaac just seems to have the run at the moment. Jack MacIntyre is kind of beginning to threaten him, but not quite close enough at the moment to make a move, but closes up as he gets a little bit of a tow heading towards the outer reaches of the circuit, and all of a sudden Isaac Smith loses a bit of momentum. He's under pressure as a pass there by Theo Bridgeman. So Theo having a good run as well, looking to try and improve on his best results as well. Bridgeman in 16th place at the moment. His best result 13th in the super race he had at Snetterton. As
you sit again on the final corner, that
they all pile in there, don't they?
Yeah, it seems to be the place to go for it. Maybe it's a safer corner because it's such a slow corner. You know, if you are side by side, you're not going to absolutely smash your competition, and then you've got the straight to try and make it stick. So makes sense. We've got Smith there going through. I think it might have just got a pass in there, and just now he's holding on to it. Bit of a convoy behind him. Maybe
yeah, Jack MacIntyre and Coates very close indeed. A little bit of a gap back to Marshall and Brennan. Alex Toth-Jones 9th from Max Bird, rounding out the top 10. Then Josh Martin. Just saw Max Bird go through. Tobin Lee, meanwhile, wants to get second position. Takes a wide run here at Tower. I thought he might go for the cutback, but gets hung out to dry a little bit. Maybe loses momentum. See if Isaac Smith can close up. And now Max Coates goes through, passes Jack Mack. So great move by Max Coates, edging up to try and get towards the podium. It's not out of the question here. We've still got 4 minutes plus a lap. So Max Coates, who has been working really hard here, started 4th on the grid, dropped back, got back up into 5th position. So knows he's got the pace. He's now putting pressure again. It's Coates and Smith, as they were in the previous race, and how they may well be in the real world JCW Mini Challenge later on. So they're going to be 2 debut drivers in the real world championship this year. Coates, of course, coming from Clio Cup, runner-up in Clio Cup last year. Isaac Smith as Fiesta champion. So
that'll be really interesting to see, actually.
Yeah.
Is this a foreshadow of what could be some really spicy real-world races between the 2 drivers? I'm looking out for that.
Good race there in the main shot, the left-hand pane. We've got Theo Bridgeman closing up on Gear Economy, and Kira's lost a little bit of ground, or we want to put the positive spin on it and say that Theo's had a good drive and caught him as they come along the straight, and Theo trying to close down him, but Keir, either way, even if he gets past, he's on for a decent result here. So he's not had a bad meeting, and it seems to be the featured drivers. It's either win or bust, isn't it, for the featured drivers? Either blind or have a complete mare. But at the moment, he's doing well and on his way to perhaps recording his best result so far.
Yeah, as we just see on the right panel there, a little bit of a lock up. They're still going for it. There's 2 minutes 48 left in the race here, and so obviously they need to get those passes in as soon as possible. And yeah, I think we're probably going to see the elusive corner lunge. Oh, there it is! Bump to bumpers now. Look at that! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars, all bumper to bumper, and at the back of that, they're literally stuck together. I don't think that they want to be stuck together, but they are, and at least that's nice and entertaining for us to watch.
It is, and arguably the driver at the front of the queue is under the most pressure, but equally every driver in succession has got somebody in his mirrors and putting the pressure on them big time. Toby Lee with pressure from Isaac Smith with pressure from Max Coates. There's going to be a little bit of a place change as well there, because Dave Marshall looking up the inside line momentarily. Jordan Brennan follows through with Alex Toth-Jones. Here they come down into Clervaux again. It's still Ryan Elliott. What a great defender he is. You say it every time, and have done since Brands Hatch round 2, where he really stood out at soaking up the pressure, and he's doing it again here. You know, it might be that his tyres go off and he might lose second position, but we really have seen him soak up inordinate amounts of pressure over the rounds, and he's on for potentially another podium here. But Tobin Lee wants one, so too does Isaac Smith, who goes very wide there into Tower. He's going to drop back from the inside line, runs over the coast, taps onto the back end of Tobin Lee's car. This could well help the second place man Ryan Elliott develop a bit of a lead here. Smith hasn't got the momentum though. Max Coates has. Goes wide into this corner. Coates all over the back at the moment of the blue car of Isaac Smith. Can he get past? Smith has recovered well from that little bit of contact, and they are, as you were, if you look at the lap chart, this is going to look pretty static, but it's been far from static in terms of watching the race for real.
So a really interesting thing is when these cars are so close together like this, you have to, if you're the car behind the car in front of you, bumper to bumper, they're literally having to look through the car in front's windscreen, or the back of their car, and through the car in front's windscreen to see what's happening and what's going on. As we see there, more movement from Coates, Marshall and Smith, all battling away. As we just go to Coates' bumper there, they're going to be probably 2 or 3 more laps left in this. But yeah, I mean, there's no visibility when you're that close to the car in front. You can't see what's going on. You can't see the corner. You better know the track as it looks like from out the side windows, because there's nothing to see in front. It's just bumper in your face. And you can actually see from Coates' view there, the cars in front, Elliott and Lee closely there. Coates just nipping the corners there. And it's actually quite nice seeing that from the onboard there. The precision you have to have through the chicane, literally called chicane, which is handy, which is nice, handy for the corner names there. You've got to get the car precisely through there, carry the momentum, and not lose it through the straight. But yeah, Elliott, Lee, Smith, all really close together. I mean, P1 has got a 3-second gap. That's absolutely bonkers. But the second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth are in with a good chance. He's gone! He locked his wheels and he's just gone straight off.
Bang goes the podium, and the 100% podium record for Ryan Elliott. Hard lines, Ryan. And he's
disaster.
He is away. Tobin Lee second. Isaac Smith is up into third place. Then it's Max Coates. I was going to speculate that if Max Coates was close enough to commit to an inside run on Isaac Smith here on the previous lap, he'd have got the position. But he's not close enough here. Smith again taking a wide line as they go across the line, and it's Kidsley who goes onto the final lap.
So I think what it is, as we go into the final lap, I think what's happening, and we've seen this in the previous races, the front tyres are basically going off by the last two or so laps, which opens the opportunity for you to accidentally push the brake too hard, and then tyres lock up, car overreacts, and well, you've just binned it. So here we go on the final lap. Who's gonna get the on the podium positions here? Who's gonna win this? It's especially up to play for second and third here. As we've got some sideways action behind there. Who's that in fourth and fifth?
Coates and Marshall side by side. Marshall on the outside, but Coates has got the run on the inside and consolidates the position. As we look back at Tom Williams in the mix in the right-hand shot as well. He's inside the top 10 with Matt Richards dicing with him. In blue, Richards looking down the inside line. Josh Martin in the mix too is in 12th position. So Richards up ahead of Williams now. But the race leader is Luke Kidsley looking for a second win. He's away down the road, 2.4 seconds clear. Tobin Lee now the man soaking up pressure, as he has done for much of the race over from Isaac Smith. The leader into the complex for the last time. He's coming up.
Is Smith going for it? Is he going to go for the final lunge? He's on the right. He's on the left. No, he's on the right. No.
It's done. It's done.
He tried. What?
He did try.
He tried.
Down towards the checker comes Luke Kidsley. Win number 2 of the season for Luke. Tobin Lee in second place. Isaac Smith is in third, and will complete our podium here for our fourth and final race of the day at CROFT. What a race it was. Max Coates in fourth position, Jack MacIntyre is 5th, Dave Marshall in 6th. Jack MacIntyre got the fastest lap of the race as well. 7th place going to Jordan Brennan, 8th Alex Toth-Jones, 9th position Max Bird, who's definitely on an upward trajectory as the meeting went on here. And then it was Matt Richards in 10th ahead of Tom Williams and Josh Martin in 12th from Ryan Elliott, who actually recovered for 13th after being set for a podium. He won't have to worry about 100% podiums now because that's gone. Keir McConomy, our featured driver, coming through for 14th place, 25th in the championship here, and that's his best result by 4 places. Keir McConomy, 14th position, and another good result as well. Just having a quick look to see Simon Reed, who was behind Keir, has his best result as well. Simon Reed coming through for 15th place, again a four place improvement on his previous best. For the man 21st in the championship, previous best was 19th, and he makes it through to 15th place. So again, plenty to think about for James West to think about, perhaps driver of the race, and maybe an overall driver of the day as well. We'll do a race separately, but Luke Kidsley takes the win. That was another cracker, wasn't it, James?
Yeah, it was really nice. Just seeing the battling constantly throughout the entirety of not just this race, but all the races today. Just constant action. I mean, we did have some laser beam drivers up front. They need knocking back a few pegs, I think. But especially those the second, third, fourth places in all those races, it was just side by side battling constantly, and then just the battles through the grid, just constant action, which is fantastic. It's what you expect from these from minis, and on a tight, nippy circuit like Croft, you're going to get that. You're going to get that argy-bargy. You're going to get those committed moves. But yeah, really fantastic. And nice to see those drivers, especially those ones that managed to pull up the places. I think Coates in that final race did a really good job of getting up there. Smith as well, and they for all those races, Coates and Smith especially seem to have been having. They were at war with each other, and I'm looking forward to seeing if that does carry across the real life and the future races in this mini series.
Well, let's catch up with the man who took 3rd position. Welcome back to the podium, Isaac Smith, and James West was just speculating as we were in the race as to whether this is going to be the start of some season-long battling between you and Max in the Real World Championship, because you're both joining JCW. But first of all, what a day's racing we've had from you, Isaac. You've really been battling hard all day, and anything stand out for you in that final race?
Yeah, it was a brilliant race. It's been a brilliant whole meeting, to be honest. I've done a few upgrades to my PC and stuff, and that's really allowed me to be a lot more consistent. So I cannot thank my parents enough for buying me all that stuff.
Oh, good lad. Good lad.
Obviously, it was a dogfight from the lights out. So
it sounds like you need a break now.
Yeah, it'd be good if I could have got a win, but obviously we had Ryan and he was holding us up a little bit in places, and sadly he got a little bit of contact. I think it might have been himself, I'm not 100% sure. Good race though, very good race. Tobin, extremely fast and extremely consistent. To be racing with him is quite a big thing.
Well, that's good to hear. Well done on the 3rd place, and we'll catch up with you on the podium, I'm sure. Future rounds. Remember, we're at Knockhill next week, so a bit of prep on that short, difficult, but undulating Knockhill circuit. We look forward to seeing you next week. Well done. Isaac Smith, 3rd position. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So from 3rd place on the podium, we move into P2. If you've just joined us, or you weren't talking to us earlier on, this man doubling up on his racing efforts this weekend and sharing a virtual car with none other than Jensen Button this weekend. Tobin, congratulations. Another great podium for the 55. It was a win last time out, but decent points there. It was another hard race.
Yeah, it was a really hard race, but I'd like to begin by also throwing some praise towards Isaac, because as a real racing driver throughout the season, he's massively improved his sim work. And so fair play to him, and it was good racing with you once again. And yeah, it's a busy day of racing, but another P2. And also with Ryan Elliott being, actually I think he's the closest person to me in the championship, to put him under a lot of pressure. And to be honest, when he went off, there was no contact at all. So it's quite a relief for me, to be honest, because I was never going to be able to overtake him with the defense that he was putting on, which was completely, it was really tough to race against. And yeah, so I'm, to be honest, I'm just really happy with this round, and I'm looking forward to the next one.
Well, we're looking forward to that too, and best of luck for your other racing endeavours this weekend, mate. Well done, Tobin.
Thanks a lot.
Tobin Lee's second position, and finally, last but certainly not least, our race winner for race 4 here on the CROFT circuit. Welcome back to the top step of the podium, Luke Kidsley. Great drive, Luke.
Many thanks, Richard. Really appreciate it, mate. Really appreciate it. I'm super happy with that, considering my pace is definitely not like the rest of them. I love these reverse grids. They're for me for sure.
See on the side of the truck, you've got the Burgoyne family there. What's the connection?
Yeah, so basically, I drive a coach for Lux Motorsport, so they're one of our main team sponsors. So that's the connection. I have to shout out Jack Davidson, who I'm looking after. Well, I've been looking after for the past few years. It's his father John that runs the team. So he's the one that pulls the strings and manages to get the sponsors on board. So I have to shout out Lux as well, and John, really, because they helped put this together for me to do this whole eSeries. So yeah,
they've done a lot in all aspects of motorsports over the years. So it's good to see that name on the car, and nice to have you name check them. But a great race from you there. Really controlled well. You got out front, a little bit of pressure earlier on, but you just seemed to get your head in gear, make the most of that pole position, and pull away. You had the fastest lap in the early stages of the race as well. So really, I'm guessing going to plan. And for Lux Motorsport, home game next time, isn't it? Knock Hill.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, no pressure or anything, obviously. No, I mean, to be honest, I find this very comparable with real racing as well. If you're in the mid pack, you're forever just fighting for position. There's always a bit of battling going on, which makes actually, getting a good race pace, consistent race pace, super tricky. So when you're in the lead, I mean, yeah, it sounds dead straightforward, but you just get your head down and just crack on with the real basics: braking point, turning point, apexes. Like I said, my pace is nowhere near what it should have been, to be honest, but it goes to show if you just keep consistent, get out in front, you can get a result for sure.
Well, you did a super race there. And what's the preparation like for the upcoming week and Knock Hill? How many hours or minutes will you spend preparing for that?
Well, I've got to be honest with you, Richard. I haven't had a wheel. I have to shout out Rich Hayden from VRC. What a gentleman. He was about to help me out because my wheel started just selecting gears whenever it fancied it. So I was fortunate enough to have a colleague down the road. He gave me a spare wheel rim just to double check that was the issue, and thank God it was. So yeah, different wheel on there. Didn't really get to do much testing for CROFT, but it seems to have paid off. So I don't know whether to do anything next week, Richard.
That's a great story, and a nice way to wrap up our interview. Luke Kidsley, second win of the season. Many congratulations on a fantastic drive.
Once again.
Mate, have a good week, and we'll see you at Knock Hill.
You too. Look after yourself.
Thanks ever so much, mate. Appreciate that. And so that's our top 3 on the podium. Luke Kidsley winner. Tobin Lee second. Third position goes to Isaac Smith. And thoughts now from James West as to driver of the race.
Well, you said we're doing a driver of the race. Are we also doing a driver of the day?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think the driver of the race, I think you're probably better off for picking that. But what I want to say is, for driver of all the races, I want to go with Isaac Smith. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to do that though.
You can do whatever you want. It's your shout.
He was just always. I'm looking at this from a pure entertainment value, pure pushing, pure battling. Just entertainment value. Isaac Smith, and obviously got the result as well. But so that's my driver of the
driver of the
4 races. Yeah. I'm not sure who you would pick for this specific race.
I'm going to go with Kim Economy. It's a tough one, really, to go between Keir and who's the other driver that was up there? I was trying to single out earlier on. Just having a quick look down. I've lost my train of thought. I've lost my notes as well. But yeah, I'm going to go with Keir. I'm going to go with Keir because he, had his best result in that one.
The problem I have is there's so much going on in this.
Absolutely.
You need like a 5-minute or maybe a 10-minute analysis of going through the replay to see what actually happened, who did what. And you need to watch it from their onboard cameras. It's like trying to just extract the data from it,
Your decision, mate. Spot on, James. That's why you're here. We have the utmost respect for what you do and for your decision. So thank you ever so much for your company today. Greatly appreciated. I hope that we get to do it again. I'm sure we will, and hopefully meet up if you get along to one of the real race meetings
Yeah,
which
awesome.
would be cool. So James West, Daniel Russell, thank you very much indeed for joining us on today's programme as co-commentator. It's been very entertaining and a great experience for me to work with you. As indeed it always has been with the rest of the team. Mike on race direction and the overall package director, Rich Hayden, who's done such a super job. As ever, super work by all of the families and drivers for getting out and entertaining us. A big thank you to them. To paraphrase the late, great Dave Allen, the comedian, be safe and may your dog go with you. Be safe. We'll see you soon. Bye for now.